Hi everyone, it's me, Frank A. Lancione. I'm pleased to be on this WLOV panel on audiobooks. I want to take a look in my time at what I think is what's next in the evolution of multimedia storytelling. I think it's helpful to start by looking at the very concept of what do we mean when we say that somebody is an author. We're not far removed from the 20th century. So certainly in all the decades and centuries leading up to 1999, and then we get into the 2000s, uh, when we say somebody is an author, we're really tied to that paradigm that this is a person who creates books that are printed on paper and distributed and promoted by publishers. Now, yes, there's some self-publishing going on, there's some self-distribution going on, there's some self-promotion going on, but for the most part, for most of our life, a book was something you went to a bookstore to buy or bought online and had shipped to your house. And it came to you through a publisher and distributor. Yes, there were some ebooks and some audiobooks, but turn the clock back to the 1980s, 1990s, folks. These were not a huge portion of the market. They were not the predominant way that an author would transmit their story. Wow, what a difference now in 2025. Now we're creating stories that are distributed through a multiplicity of channels and media. So you can now think of the author as a storyteller with lots of different ways to get that story out. So there's extensive self-publishing on marketplaces like Amazon. I think if we were to survey our group, we'd find out there's probably more self-publishers in the club than people with contracts who distribute their books through booksellers and publishers. What else is going on? Social media as a way of promoting your book and getting the word out. And with applications like Zoom, you can actually meet with readers anywhere in the world where your book is distributed. So that's a big change. And one of the other things that's happened, and I mean, it's just exploded in the last 24 months, is the injection of AI into tools that are available at very reasonable and low cost to authors to create multimedia versions of their stories. So I think we're looking at a very different new normal. Back in the old nasty days, way back in the 1990s and up to 2000, books, paper books, were the paradigm for what it meant to write a book. But now, in the 21st century, in an electronic environment where we're bathed, where we have the internet, all this has changed. All this is different. And really, we're living in an electronic world with electronic artifacts and electronic distribution of our ideas and our stories. So what does this mean for audiobooks and storytelling in general? Well, I think one of the factors that really is going to have a major impact is that avatar capabilities are rapidly evolving. Now, what does that mean? I think most of you know I write plays that are put on in front of audiences. And when I do that, I do it like an old time radio show. I have actors off on the side, voice actors, reading the scripts that I've written for each of the characters. And when a character speaks, I project on the front screen in the auditorium a visual image of a character that is the avatar for that character in the story. So when it's time for Robin Logan to talk, Robin Logan's pictures broadcast on an 8 by 10 foot front screen. Well, that's kind of primitive, but I believe that that dynamic of having a visual representation of the character as well as the audio of the script being read is going to make its way into what we've been considering the audiobook market. So let's look at how this is evolving. When we write a textual description of a character, that in a way is an avatar of what that character is about. Lance was a 60-year-old senior inspector in the homicide division of the Wildwood, Florida Police Department. Well, as soon as short a time as 12 months ago, it really became very easy to start generating with AI print style images. And so when I first published this series of murder mysteries, I decided that I wanted to illustrate them. And this was the quality of illustration I was able to generate using AI a year ago. And as you see, it really reflects my concept of what Senior Inspector Lance would look like, his age, his class, the way he dresses. He's kind of a fuddy-duddy, still wearing a fedora. Uh, and it looks like a print that somebody had done, like an artist had done up a print. Well, in less than a year, the AI capabilities exploded, and the new Inspector Lance is a photorealistic, lifelike image that has DSLR quality graphics, sharp focus, and you can see he's here at police headquarters. It's very, very different. And you know where this is going? Well, to start with, neither the bottom story or the bottom photo or the top photo existed. I spoke those into life. Think about that if you know anything about Genesis. I created a verbal description of what I wanted, the way they would look, the way they would dress, what was in the foreground, what was in the background, coloring, expression, everything. And it gave me the pictures. And those were still pictures. But now the capability exists to use those pictures to derive a fully programmable video avatar. So I can take a picture that I created that never existed and now turn it into a moving programmable video avatar. Wow. So what are the implications of programmable video avatars for audiobooks? Well, again, if you go to Merriam-Webster and say, what is an audiobook? They give you a very 20th century definition. A recording of a book or magazine being read aloud. Well, that's pretty, plain vanilla compared to what we can do today. Because what we can do right now in the 21st century is create an audio-visual recounting of an author's story by a lifelike AI avatar who exhibits author-defined physical appearance, emotional state, body movements, voice tone and inflections, and the setting, the context, the foregrounds and the backgrounds. It's unbelievable.
I'm Senior Inspector Lance. Rita Bohem, Paula Howard, I hereby arrest both of you for the murder of Robin Logan. It's a sad, sad story, folks. Two women both pursuing the same man. They each think they're the only one and then discover Logan is a playboy cad who is scamming both of them. The crime lab has your fingerprints on the revolver, ladies. It's over. Sergeant Judy, read them their rights and cuff them.
Okay, I'd like to wrap up with a couple of concluding observations. Look, in the United States, 20s, 30s, 40s, even into the 50s, radio was it. Radio was the equivalent of the internet today and streaming. It was vital, it was vibrant. That's where you went for entertainment. It was the center of the culture. And TV, as it started to come in, was primitive and expensive and hard to use. There wasn't a lot of content. And so at that point in time, you saw a lot of comments like this one from James Brandon of the New York Times in 1939. It is clear why scientists view television as incapable of supplanting radio sound broadcasts, and why they view it as supplementary to radio. Well, how'd that work out for you there, Mr. James Brandon, Mr. New York Times? I believe that we're looking at capabilities that once they become easy to use and generally accepted are going to just inevitably be inserted into all of the things that we do. And I think we're going to see audiobooks certainly over time morph into video books. Here's my take. Not only do tools evolve, so do our sensibilities. Once new technologies that offer enhanced capabilities become affordable and easy to use, people just aren't willing to settle for old tech. So I'm going to leave this slide up and recommend that you come up and take a picture of it and that you use it to go explore AI avatar creation for yourself for free. I had Grok list the top 5 free sites. I've used sites similar to these. These are absolutely free. They either have a free usage trial period or a free tier. But you can go, you can play, you can understand what this is, and then you can make your own decisions about whether this is something for you. At the very least, this is evolving rapidly, and you'll be tuned in to what's happening. So I hope this was enjoyable for you and presented some information that gets you thinking. Thanks for taking the time to listen.